A financial extinction event is unfolding right before our eyes. Japan's bond market just went bidless. The US held a bond auction and no one showed up to the party. The Fed is bailing itself out with fake money while the chaos brews. Bitcoin is breaking out, and Max Keiser just called for a $2.2 million price. So if you're not paying attention, you're going to want to catch this recap from Simply Bitcoin. Stay tuned.
Bitcoin is booming. Are you cashing in or missing out? At Drip2 BTC, we're rewriting the rules of Bitcoin investing. Earn up to 30% ROI on your deposits, unlock incredible Bitcoin discounts, and transform credit into up to 3,000% APR growth. No hassle, just real results. Don't wait, your future is one deposit away. Drip2BTC.com. Invest smart today.
Hey guys, welcome back. Drip Coach here with Drip and Farm for Poverty, where we don't trust, we verify, and operate with integrity and transparency. Putting this out, it's going to be a little late for some of you guys, but I don't know if you all subscribe to Simply Bitcoin or not. They're a good channel to catch along with, like Savvy Finance. They do a great job of summarizing things. And this is what took place by the time you watch this last week. So when Bitcoin hit its all-time high at 111, 110, it was all on Bitcoin Pizza Day. And ironically, what was going on with the Japan carry trade and the Japanese bond auction that went forward, and no one showed up to buy. They're still going on right now as of this video, but they have to continue raising the rates to make it attractive for someone to hold the debt, and basically nobody wants to hold it, so the countries themselves have to bail themselves out. So we're going to break down the different clips that Rustin went over in here, just so you can be caught up and see that, again, Bitcoin is the safest asset you should be accumulating. Like, who knows what's going to happen and where this goes from here, but we know that Bitcoin is the only solution out of this fiat Ponzi.
A global financial extinction event is underway. Japan's bond market just went bidless. The US just held a bond auction and no one showed up. The IMF is begging Washington to stop spending like a drunk sailor. And while all this is going down, Elizabeth Warren's war on Bitcoin just failed. She tried to kill the Genius Act. Her anti-crypto army rallied to stop it, and it still passed with overwhelming bipartisan support. Stablecoins are now set to become the biggest buyers of US Treasuries, and Max Keiser says that's not a fix. It's the final warning shot before Bitcoin hits 2.2 million bucks. Welcome back.
So that is crazy. Like, again, that's a lot of different things taking place all at once. And it's not like a small macro hiccup that we see. This is actually systemic failure. And then again, Jeff Booth echoing that the natural state of the free market is deflation. And people who don't understand that statement and understand that Bitcoin is a completely different system, you can't actually wrap your head around the problem, because you're trying to solve the problem from within the rules of the existing system. So if the entire system came into play with fake rules and industries in education to convince us that inflation was necessary, then there is nothing within that system that you can use to fix it. There's no out. Like, it has to continue to debase and steal your economic wealth and energy. But along came something outside of the system, which is Bitcoin, a completely new protocol, which has shifted everything that we know about the old system. So it's just really simple, yet really complicated, because we've lived in this, fabricated prison for so long. So the bond market issue, Robert Kiyosaki put out this tweet that said, "What if you threw a party and no one showed up?" That is what happened yesterday. The Fed held an auction for US bonds and no one showed up. So the Fed quietly bought 50 billion of its own fake money with fake money. The party's over. Hyperinflation is here. Millions, young and old, to be wiped out financially. Good news, gold will go to 25K, silver to $70, and Bitcoin to 500K to 1 million. The big print, the title of Larry Leppert's latest book, is on. Please read it. The end I have been warning the world about is here. May God have mercy on our souls. Now, it sounds a little dramatic, but all of these things are taking place. I don't think we'll see hyperinflation within my time frame for the US because of the what do you call that? The way the rest of the world carries the debt and it's used for trade and settling things. So it takes a long time to unwind this system. But I do believe within my time frame on this earth that we will get to that smaller number of global currencies. So I'm in the camp of believing that there will be 3 to 5, and that could be a way to kind of like, settle the debt and things of that nature. I don't know if that's ever going to come to fruition, and it doesn't really matter because no matter what they do with the fake fiat currency money, it's going to continue to steal and erode your economic wealth and energy. So maybe hyperinflation is going to hit the US or not, but we'll definitely see it in other countries as we have already, right? So that's going to continue to happen for sure. And the only way out of that fiat rat race Ponzi trap is Bitcoin.
Second time since 2007, the 30-year Treasury yield crossed 5%. And guess what? Nobody showed up to the bond party. The Fed had to buy its own garbage, $50 billion worth. That's not a market. That's a Ponzi scheme. You guys remember who taught you that you can't taper a Ponzi? More from Max in a minute. But enter the so-called Genius Act, a bill that turns stablecoins into massive buyers of U.S. debt. Let's check out Senator Haggerty's statement on the bill.
Leader Thune, and I would like to say to everyone, I look forward to making history, hopefully this week, as we continue to make progress on the Genius Act. What does it do? I think it's very important to understand this. We're modernizing the payment system here in America. We're going to put America at the forefront of innovation rather than having America behind as the caboose. This is a dramatic new technology. Innovation is happening here in America. I don't want to see it pushed offshore. I want to see it happening right here. The implications of this are incredible in terms of protecting consumers. Today, it's an unregulated market. What we'll do is make certain that everyone knows that stablecoins are backed by U.S. dollars, and that those dollars are backed up by cash and short-term U.S. Treasuries, the highest quality instruments, so that these instruments can be used for digital trade all over the world. This will ensure U.S. dollar dominance. It will advance our position as the reserve currency in the world rather than see the retreat and the decline that we might otherwise experience. The other thing that it will do is it will stimulate demand for United States Treasuries. In fact, the projections are that by the end of this decade, stablecoin issuers here in the United States will be the #1 holders of U.S. Treasuries in the world. Think about that. I'd far prefer a benign stablecoin issuer to the CCP or other sovereign nations. So I think there's a lot to like about this bill. I appreciate the bipartisan support that we've received moving on to it, and I look forward again to making history with my colleagues later this week.
Now, in case you've been under a rug or not familiar with what the Genius Bill is, it is the Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Act, and it has been getting kicked around since the last administration, and it just passed in the Senate with a 66-22 vote, and it'll have to go to the House. So maybe by the time you've seen this, it could pass in the House, and we could have this moving forward. Now, basically, in short, this just will allow any entity to issue stablecoins as long as it qualifies on the federal or state level and does not offer yield on its stablecoins. Banks, credit unions, non-banks can become stablecoin issuers by registering with the appropriate federal regulator. So you'll see like a Bank of America stablecoin, a JP Morgan stablecoin, Chase stablecoin. We've already seen the one from World Liberty Fi. It is just an easy way for the big, wealthy bankers, big money to get even more capital and more money because it's a debt crisis and somebody has to buy the debt. So by them being able to back it and create more and more stable coins, of course, that is still good for other people who store their wealth in fiat as well as a number of different countries. So it's not bad news, but if you believe that this is the solution, you are sorely mistaken. This is actually just a sounding alarm that in the background, we know that most of these stablecoin issuers like Tether and USDC actually use the interest they earn to buy Bitcoin in the background. So these stablecoins are quietly soaking up Bitcoin and being backed by Bitcoin for those companies. And it's all it is just like duct tape over a bleeding bond market or a Band-Aid over a bullet wound. Like, this is not a solution, but it should let you know that there is something drastic happening. So it's like a litmus test, the canary in the coal mine, if you will, saying, yo, look, this is definitely coming. It's not something to just ignore. You need to be storing your financial wealth and energy in something that is not being eroded away more faster than you can store it or save it. So let's go to the last clip. I think it is from Max talking about $2.2 million Bitcoin
for the world. Thank you.
Bill's supporters think this will stabilize the system by injecting stablecoin demand into treasuries. But Max Keiser is not buying the hopium. Printing fake stablecoins to buy fake treasuries is just one big daisy chain of fake chasing fake. Max Keiser is right. This isn't a fix. It's a death spot. And the cherry on top? These stablecoins are backed by fiat, but many of the issuers are secretly stacking Bitcoin. So while Warren tries to ban Bitcoin, this legislation just accelerated the rush into it. Genius, right? Bitcoin broke 108K overnight, and now it's flirting with all-time highs. We're sniffing 110K. We are about to enter price discovery. Max Keiser, he's calling for $2.2 million Bitcoin. Sounds crazy. Well, if you want further confirmation about what is happening, just ask Jack Mallers, who said this.
I expect China to buy gold and Bitcoin before they buy the 10-year. The deal was, we'll run a trade deficit as the United States of America. We will be the world reserve currency. You guys have to buy our treasuries, lend us money in return. Well, all of a sudden, these long duration instruments, they weren't preserving purchasing power because real rates negative. Meaning, yes, you're getting some yield by owning the 10-year, but inflation of the dollar losing purchasing power isn't compensating you. Your purchasing power is being lost. And China was like, screw it. I'm just going to buy Facebook. I'm just going to buy Amazon. I'm just going to buy Google. I'm just going to buy Nvidia. I'm just going to buy Apple. I'm just going to buy scarce real estate in the US. And it's like, well, that sucks because now we're allowing you to have this giant trade surplus and you just own all the like dope shit in America and we get screwed and there's a giant wealth gap in our country. There's no middle class. We can't produce anything. And so the deal is if you want to buy treasuries with no tax, you can go for it. But Besant is admitting their real rate's negative. So if you're China and you're saying, okay, the US doesn't want me buying their stocks, doesn't want me buying their real estate, doesn't want me buying their farmland. I can't buy any US assets without paying an enormous tax. And if I buy the 10-year, the Treasury Secretary is literally telling me real rates are going to be negative. So what should I buy? And then the US is out saying, by the way, we're auditing Fort Knox and we have a strategic Bitcoin reserve. I actually think the fact that the United States established a strategic Bitcoin reserve is unbelievable given the way they're re-architecting global capital flows. They're not literally saying this, but they're effectively saying, you got to buy gold, you got to buy Bitcoin.
Now, you guys have seen me bring the clips from Jack, and I love the way he just breaks things down. And when you put all of these different people from different industries, different ages, different walks of life, different backgrounds that they worked in, it's like, I don't know how many more alarms need to go off before you realize that, Bitcoin is the only solution. And again, just from my humble beginnings and getting wrecked last cycle, if you're dabbling around with shit coins and stuff, like, man, kind of like Robert Kiyosaki said, may God have mercy on your soul, because the bulk of you guys will not make it. Shit coins, altcoins are not the way to store wealth, to try to get rich. You might get lucky, but the bulk will get wrecked. And that side of the market is just so volatile and so unknown because you got Bitcoin, you got everything else. So for the rest of the market cap, just kind of a segue for you guys just to see, where my brain is at and why I say these things. You're sitting with a market cap of, where's total market cap? Why is it not up here at the top? Is it hiding under here? Oh, there it is. It's small. 3.5 trillion, and 2.2 trillion of that is in Bitcoin. The other 1.3 is in all the alts and shitcoins. So you're literally gambling, throwing darts, hoping that your shitcoin will go up and you'll be able to get out in time to have more money than you would have if you had just focused on Bitcoin. That is just a risk on top of a risk. You're taking the gamble of one, having the right one, and then two, getting out at the right time. Like, it can happen, sure. But if you're not stacking Bitcoin alongside, then you're just going to end up wrecked again in this cycle. So I hope you guys have been following my journey in the lessons learned. I've documented this for now 4 years, a video every day showing you guys how I've matured and moved through the space. That's why you don't see me putting any of the other shit tokens up on my channel anymore. It's like, I learned my lessons. So with Max Keiser calling for 2.2 million, and then Jack talking about what's happening with China and other countries when they stop buying, or they already have stopped buying US Treasuries. And it's showing you exactly what's happening, that money is moving into Bitcoin and in gold. Like, both of those are up at all-time highs as of this cycle, and we're just getting started. So it should be very clear what we should be doing. If that's where all of the money and wealth is moving to, then you would be a fool to be storing yours elsewhere. Even with this Against Stablecoin Act, the Genius Bill, it's, again, that Band-Aid over bullet wound, because it's like, okay, you can get some stables and have them, but still over time, it's tied to the dollar, and that is debasing at whatever number they want to throw out, 2%, 4%, 6%, 8%, 15% per year. It doesn't matter. It's debasing faster than you're getting a raise each year. So if you're holding that, then the question is, why? And I just made another change. I still got some stables on like Binance and Coinbase to buy the dip, but I had some actually sitting on, I think it was in a one of their staking platforms on there, earning like 11% on FDUSD. And I was like, why am I trying to earn 11% on a stable? So I just went ahead and took it out of there and put in buy orders for Bitcoin, because it just doesn't make any sense for me, since everything I want to do now is going to be in Bitcoin. And then if I need to buy something in fiat, then I'm just going to get a collateralized loan against my Bitcoin. Like that's the world I want to live in. I don't want to have any fiat just sitting around getting eroded. Maybe a little bit for a rainy day fund kind of thing, but outside of that, there's no point. So anyway, just wanted to put these clips together, show you guys what's going on. And the writing is on the walls. Like, this all just happened this week for me. It'll be last week for you guys when you watch this. And who knows where Bitcoin's going from here. So I'm in the camp and believe that I told you guys by the end of second quarter, definitely over 120, 125. And I think we're headed there for sure. Ralph says by July, 140, 150. So we're heading in that camp. And this is still one of the best time to dollar cost average into Bitcoin. The absolute best time was yesterday. And the next best time is right now. So hope you are watching this and not sitting on the sidelines and making moves accordingly, because it is happening and it's going to be a tidal wave of opportunity. And there's no better time to enjoy it. All right. Smash that HPL special. Help a brother out. Like, subscribe, comment down below. And until next time, lift daily and achieve your impossible. See ya.